hello to her, but she is following us on Facebook. She will share her experience. Yeah. Then of course I have my senior colleagues, Mr. Stephen. So Mr. Stephen has a specialization in management and also retail. Right. Then you write the back in white, Mr. Ang Yang Kiang. Mr. Ang was CEO of GE Finance in Singapore. So he together with us, we advise a lot of the senior management leaders. So every one of our senior consultants, they have all run managed companies. So they are people of experience. And this is very important in our work, as you can imagine. You have to be able to run a business, you understand how a business works. So my role actually is very simple because I work with the smartest people. So all I have to do is to always to ask their advice, to coordinate with them, to ask what they think, and then to put things together. Then of course, I'd like to introduce my other colleagues. They do the most beautiful work in our office, you know. And Mr. Vincent, you have just he's our Chinese expert, but actually his talent is design, and he's an award-winning illustrator. 他会画漫画，说你们在台湾，你们也是你们漫画很棒，他也是可以画漫画。So he will share his experience about design. Yeah. Then of course, right at the back, he looks like Japanese, but she is a very handsome Singaporean. Mr. Kenneth Kwan. He's an expert in video. That's why you see our video abilities. We have so many cameras, different angles. So in our company, it's very important to have diversity. Obviously, when you realize where are the ladies, somehow today, all the ladies have something to do, and they are not here. But we have one lady in Vietnam representing, and the other ladies, they send their apologies. So we are not just all men. It looks like we are like priesthood, but it's not. Okay, so yeah, the ladies go out. We are staying here. They are really going to the front. So our women are amazing, right? So we are very happy that you are here with us. So this is our home, but of course this is only one of the offices of Consilus. We work like a family around the world. We are a network of different companies with the same belief. The same belief of we want to use our consultancy to change the world, right? And you may ask, what is the work that you are trying to do? The work that we are trying to do is innovation. Yeah. But we can say that what is the purpose of innovation? Innovation is only about using technology, but innovation doesn't make the world better. So that is our fight. Can innovation help to make a better world? And I think that is a very important question, right? Wherever we are operating. Vince Helena is saying the camera is. So one of the things that we do, as we work with all the various offices around the world, is to really find out what matters to the people that we work with, especially in the different situations. Because our work, we deal with markets of very big, how to say, extreme situations. You have in Singapore, where the economy is very developed. You have in Myanmar, years of military dictatorship, and now going through a massive transformation. You have a country like Sri Lanka also, that has come out of a civil war, that is trying to build peace and reconciliation. So you cannot do consulting without understanding the society dynamics. If you ignore the society dynamics of these herds of the transformation, then your approach of consulting is blind. You are not actually doing something that's meaningful to people, that will make a real difference to people. And the other challenge is that you also cannot just take a template from the Western society, from even the advanced society that we have here in Singapore and in Taiwan, and you just apply. Because in many situations, the approach requires a very local knowledge. So we work very closely with our local teams. But our local teams are not second to us. Our local teams are first class with us. We respect their view, and we try to understand the situation that they are encountering. For example, in Bangladesh, they just had a terrorist attack in a restaurant. It was a tragic situation. It was terrible. But you know what is a strange thing? In the United States, you may have more people dying, but still people will go to the United States for tourism. But for Bangladesh, even if just one cafe that suffers the tragic attack of terrorism, people avoid Bangladesh. And they think that the whole of Bangladesh is on fire. So Bangladesh is very big. It's huge. It's not a small town. Yeah? So there is this unfairness when it comes to global dynamics. And as the consultants on the ground, this is our biggest concern. Then at the same time, you will realize that the world is going through what we call the fourth industrial revolution. Right? Maybe it's Industry 4.0. But what is the real problem about Industry 4.0? Industry 4.0 talks a lot about technology, talks a lot about artificial intelligence, talks a lot about the speed of change, but doesn't talk about how societies and how organizations also need to change. But Industrial Revolution 4.0 also tends to talk a lot about this new economic growth, but doesn't talk about how civilization has to change. And we think that it is a big disconnect. It doesn't make sense, right? It's like if you are going to go for a nice dinner, you cannot just put on a nice dress or a nice shirt. You need to do makeup. Maybe for the man, you need to go exercise and do some weight so you look more handsome in the suit. You have to change your entire being. You cannot just, okay, Industry 4.0 is exciting, it's fantastic, let's change, but without understanding the challenges. So organization and civilization has to change, and that is our work. Simply put, Consulus is about helping to emerge a new generation of companies. Some of you in Kaohsiung have heard I shared this concept about the economy of communion. We are not alone in the economy of communion. The economy of communion was started in 1991 by this lady called Chiara Lubich. And there are many companies in the world that practice the economy of communion. But what is the economy of communion? The economy of communion is not about corporate social responsibility. The economy of communion requires the whole mindset change of how you treat a company. When people use the word company, they always say it's about profit, productivity, and growth. But if you look at the English word company, the word literally says a group of people. The economy of communion talks a lot about the company, a group of people, not so much about profit. Profit is a consequence of the group of people. The relationship of the group of people is more important than the profit. That is the economy of communion. Your customer is more important than profit. That's the economy of communion. The society is more important than profit. That is the economy of communion. That is what we are fighting for. So when we started the company in 2004, we asked ourselves, can purpose and profit unite? That means, can it be sensible and logical to build a business based on purpose that also can generate profit? And the answer is yes. And we realized that over 12 years, these kind of companies that are not just doing business to make a short profit, or to cheat people, but when they realize that they have a purpose as a participant, because sometimes companies, they tend to be extractive. I need to make money, so I extract and then I produce. But actually, if you look at it, companies are like gardens, experimental gardens, where you have different type of flowers and everything. Your staff, they are part of this garden. Your customers, they are part of this garden, right? And we also learned that the purpose-driven companies, they actually do better. And we start to identify that these kind of companies produce three types of profit. Number one, the very straightforward, what we call the corporate profit. Every one of you run an enterprise, you know that. When you run a business, it has to be sustainable, it has to be profitable, so that you can pay your workers better, you can invest in research and development. But the second thing we realized was, actually, when a group of people spend time with each other, they grow spiritually in a sense. And later on, you will hear my colleagues share their experiences. What do I mean they grow? You start to learn things about each other. You start to learn things about different culture. Like for example, my brother here, Ravi, he's a Muslim. Jeffrey is a Methodist. I'm a Catholic. Helena is a free thinker, atheist. It is very important to pay attention to that dynamic, because when you realize that your identity matters a lot, how the environment allows you to be comfortable to share your identity helps in innovation. You know? So we realize that the spiritual level, in terms of knowledge, in terms of culture, helps the business in very important ways. And later on, my colleagues will share their experiences. And the third thing is social profit. What is social profit? Naturally, the companies that are aware of purpose, they will be able to find new ways to contribute to society. You do not need a corporate social responsibility to think of one. You know, sometimes people talk about CSR as if it's like a pet project. Okay, we have not done anything for people, let's try to invent something. Oh, some OH home, they need some help, let's go. You know, it's like an extracurricular activity, but it shouldn't be the case. If you are very aware of your purpose, whether you are doing agriculture, whether you are selling fashion, whether you are selling technology, if you are very aware of your purpose, you naturally will be able to generate social profit. You can benefit society. If it doesn't cross your mind to benefit society, something is very wrong. That means you are a company without purpose. Right? It's a natural consequence. So our job is this. We realize that to help companies, they need to transform. How do they transform? They need to have a new core, a new way of doing things, a new way of thinking. So our consultants from different disciplines, we start off from business model, that means how they run the business. And we have people of different disciplines. Just now I shared some from finance, some from design, some from marketing, some from human resource. And then we look at the organization. How are they organized? Because most companies are organized as if they belong to the era of the 20th century. They are not belonging to the 21st century. So we need to look at how they are formed, how they share information, how do they talk to each other, right? Even the notion of who is the boss, who is the staff has changed. Now there's no boss and no staff. Everyone is a co-participant in the new economy. And the third thing is branding. How do you communicate this belief that is meaningful? That I like to quote Steve Jobs, that make your heart sing when you look at something, right? So how do you do design that's not just fanciful, that oh it's for the sake of winning an award? But how do you look at design and feel for it? How do you look at design and feel like I believe in that design, rather than this is a nice looking design? There's a huge difference between I think it's great versus I feel something for it. The feeling part of it, the empathy of it matters a lot. So over the years, we have been very fortunate. We have had a lot of friends who have worked with us, and they also introduced us to many other projects. In the beginning was very difficult, and later on my partners and colleagues will share with you. But we measure a lot about what is the impact these companies have after we transform them. Unfortunately, we don't make that money. But we feel very rich that we were able to help them make the impact for society and for their employees. And one thing that guides us very much, this is a summary of our internal purpose statement. The long version you can see when we have the break later on. We, every single year, every single time, every single month, we look at this statement. It's on all of our marketing channels, not for us to tell people, but to remind us. In fact, one of the early days decision was, do we tell people we are social enterprise? We decided not to because we didn't want people to hire us out of charity. We wanted people to hire us because they felt that our solution was the best. You know? So there's a big difference because sometimes if you go, we are a social consultancy, we are a social enterprise consultancy, and they go like, oh, okay, can you're doing for charity, can you be a bit cheaper, so poor thing, But we wanted to compete with McKinsey. We wanted to compete with Boston Consulting Group. We wanted to compete with the American firms. So we want to compete with them by being the best. We don't want to compete with people because people want to give us charity, just because we are trying to be a social enterprise. But this statement means a lot to us, and I will ask my colleagues to share with you later on. But to summarize this, we have 3 strategies to fulfill the statement. First, the consultants in Consulus, whether they are full-timer or they work with us on project basis, we consider them part of the community life. So later on, Helena will share what is the community life. We have regular sharing sessions. We have sessions to renew ourselves. This is very, very important. We cannot get a group of smart people, put them in a room, and expect them to know how to build unity. It's impossible. Because you must understand, when you are in a room full of smart people, everyone also thinks that they have a solution to something. And you end up not solving anything, because everybody is trying to say, my solution is the best. So you have to spend a lot of time on the community life. The second part is, all the companies we work with, we cannot judge our clients. Because in Asia, everyone's situation is very different. Some, as I said, they just come out from a military government. Some, they came out from a war. Some of these companies went through a lot to survive. Some of them, we don't know how they survive. Some of them, we don't want to know how they survive. But if they choose to change, if they choose to make a difference to society, that's our job. Our job is to turn whatever for profit intention they have towards profit in society. Yeah? So we are not always going to be working with people who, yes, I like social enterprise, I believe that building my company is to save the world. Very, very rarely you have that. But we show them that you can make an impact in society if you change. Then the third thing is the Shape the World initiatives, and I'd like to share them with you. It's very strange when we do conferences like this. We talk about business, but we always talk about business with social impact. But we make it really like a business conference. We don't call it a social enterprise event. We call it, this is Shape the World. You want to be a better company. How you want to make an impact of the world. Innovation, good business strategy. Also, good social impact that come together. That's how we do it. And we have a quarterly newsletter called The Columnist. The Columnist, the big majority of the people featured, they are not even our clients. They are not our customers. They are people like, for example, the president of Muji. You know Muji of Japan, right? So the president of Muji shared how they use sustainability as a basis for design. So we talk about this story. So we have another story from Japan also. This young lady who used a recycled scarf from India and sell it as a high-end product in Japan itself in order to help poor communities. You know, these are not our clients, but we use it to, because when you read the newspaper, social enterprise is always like a side topic. You know, there is no business publication that puts social enterprise in the center. So we wanted to use our newsletter to influence that. By the way, there's business strategy, and by the way, there's also people doing this amazing stuff, so that when they look at it together, they feel that it's normal, it's not strange. And finally, tomorrow you will all join us for the World Company Day Forum. Why did we start World Company Day? We don't make any money for World Company Day. In fact, we always pay for it. But World Company Day reflects the councillors' thinking and belief that our mission is to make companies be social. Not more social enterprises, but to tell them that actually you have a responsibility to be a social enterprise. All of you, any business you are in, your responsibility is to be a social enterprise as the first thing. Not as a, by the way, I like to be more charitable and I be a social enterprise. Okay, so that is our mission. So now I'd like to ask our various partners, senior partners, and colleagues to share with you. So it's a bit more entertaining, not one person talking all the time. Just to give you, yes, you have come to our house, so we are going to tell you some secret. We are writing a book to gather our 12 years. If you'd like to pre-order the book, let us know. But we have not found, we are going to find a publisher to translate into Mandarin. We haven't found it yet, but it's in English first next year. But these are some of the stories that we have experienced, yeah. And well, we hope that you will like it. So now, are you here? Yes. Okay. Okay, I have pictures of your presentation. I think you can just share.
Okay. Yeah, hi everyone.
Hello.
This is Helena and I'm going to share with you about the internal practices and its impact when we are practicing it in councillors and outside the world. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. This is the belief that all of us share in councillors. That is the reason why we reinforce different internal practices to make sure all the consultants, all the councillors are united, not at the surface level, but a much more deeper level as brothers and sisters. We always please call each other brothers and sisters, and to make sure we are humble to grow as a person and to grow as a company, and to make sure we are the leaders for our own selves before becoming the leaders for others. And finally, to make sure we uphold the standards of professionalism in everything we do to be a company of 100 years and even more. So just to share about our councillor circle. Councillor circle is one of the internal practices that we practice not only internally, but also we transfer to our clients and partners so that they can practice themselves. Councillor circle happens every Friday at 5:30 p.m. And it's when everyone in the company, regardless of location, Singapore, Vietnam, and everywhere, nationality, religion, and age, we come together to form a circle, physically and virtually, and start sharing about his or her experience or reflection of the week. This very simple practice really trains each of us to listen attentively to each other because everyone only has 2 minutes to share, and enable us to sense how the person feels behind those stories and words. This again helps each of us to appreciate each other even more and enable us to remove all kinds of barriers so that we can collaborate with each other seamlessly. As a result, it shapes the way we communicate with our clients too. I remember recently when we started to receive feedback from the client staff that we seem not to understand them, and we also sense that the relationship with the client got loose a little bit after a while, because we serve original projects, and for this client we don't have a local team in the same city with the client, and as you know, we're outside of mine, so we immediately took action to create a weekly platform to communicate with the client, to hear their voice, to see their faces. So without councillor circle to master up our sensitivity, we wouldn't have been able to do this, and the project would have failed already. bonsai, another practice, is one of the most wanted and expected practice of the year. It is a practice where each of us will receive points of improvement and information from our colleagues on how we have lived our core values towards becoming a better person. For me, it is beautiful because as a person, we all have blind spots. And those who work beside us every day, our colleagues, are the best people to give us feedback. And this is the precious platform because the job give feedback to the senior one in a face-to-face setting, and the other person just receives without saying anything. This again has to clear barriers between the management and staff, and enables us to work more effectively and innovatively because we don't have any barriers. And then, and for me, see myself grow every year, and step by step unleash more of my inherent gifts to transform more companies and individuals to reach their full potential through causes work, business innovation work, and social volunteer work. So I'm very proud of this, and just to give you all a number, together with my community friends, we have managed to start building the second primary school for the kids in the north of Vietnam. Yeah, this is our pictures of all the members. We try to engage with the kids in Lai Châu and in Hà Giang provinces. And we managed to touch the heart of more than 2,000 people in Hanoi and the neighborhood provinces through a series of activities like personal development and charity events. So, and each person to be better, the impact the person will be able to bring across can be tremendous. This is why at Consulars, we shape the world from the inside out. We shape the world of each consulate, and we shape the world of our clients and partners. I'm in.
Thank you. Thanks, Hannah. Usually in our company, after everyone share, they will say I'm in. And then everyone in the circle will say welcome. So it's the way we join in the counselors circle. So we also welcome you. So I also want to share in the early days how we decided which business opportunity is good for us and which is not good. Right? So to share about this, of course, I asked our also Chief Finance Officer, Jeffrey, my partner, to share an experience.
Hi, I am John Consulars since day one, and I have many opportunities. I have many opportunities to meet with different types of customers. We believe in professionalism and do our best to bring the values to our customers. By doing so, we have to give proper guidances and advices so that they are in compliance with the Singapore regulations. This will be us relatively selective on our clientele. Alright. I would like to share one of the incidents a couple years ago where we meet up with this potential client. We discussed about business. This client wants to develop his educational business in Singapore. The company is very strong in financial resources. They have the funds. So we have discussed on how to develop this business and to engage with our services to assist to get some government grants. Then we come to the part of vocation. We're talking about, when we are talking about the that he asked the invoice should be addressed to the overseas company, not the Singapore companies. So this arrangement is certainly not acceptable by us, and we decided not to continue with the discussion and follow up the bill. All right. Then we rushed to another meeting and also discussing the business for the business, and we got the job, So to us, doing business is of course very important, but to upkeep and to maintain our values is even more important. With that,
Okay, next I'd like to invite Vincent to share. He will share in Mandarin. So no need translation.
翻译员这边可以去说一下。对，大家好，我叫文辉，你们可以叫我文辉或者叫我Vincent。所以，从我有记忆开始，我就记得我一直都在画画。可是，虽然我都有不时的得过一些小奖，但是这些奖项不能让我觉得，我的生命有什么改变？因为我总觉得这一个才能没有办法实质上去改变社会。当时我是这么觉得，所以当时我就在想说，从大学出来之后，也许我只能够养家糊口，这个才能只能够当成养家糊口、讨一口饭吃的一门技艺。可是后来我加入 Constellus 之后，我发现到 Constellus 在设计方面有一个很完善的一个才艺，我们有介绍到的。所以，而且不止那样，公司也鼓励我用我的绘画方面的才华去在我们的 project 上面做一些贡献。所以我们有一个 project 在马来西亚的古晋。古晋这个地方，它是其实是马来文猫的谐音，所以它也有猫城的这一个意思。在这猫城里面，我们有个顾客，他们是一个地产开发商，他们的宗旨是透过生态和艺术来作为他们的开发的一个核心价值。所以当我们要为他们去设计一个吉祥物的时候，我就在想说，因为我们不能够只是让这一个吉祥物是对我们的顾客来说是很有意义的，同时它必须也对当地人、古晋人也有意义。所以，因为这一个吉祥物，它是启发自我们为他们设计的公司的标志。所以其实你看这一只猫，它的最大的特色就在于它的耳朵其实是那一个犀鸟，犀鸟是古晋的那一个代表的动物，所以它其实是犀鸟的那一个形状。所以当我们把这一个吉祥物呈现给他们的时候，他们很兴奋。那时候我不是很能够理解，因为对我来说，这一个画上面也有很特别的地方。但是后来我明白到，因为马来西亚人其实我们多多少少我们缺乏一点的就是自我的认同，所以当这个吉祥物呈现在他们眼前的时候，其实也意味着我们肯定了他们的身份，而他们这个渴望被认同的这一个欲望达到的时候，他们觉得这个设计在同他们对话。所以那一刻我第一次从心里体会到设计带来的那一种喜悦，是之前得奖啊别人称赞所不能给我。所以透过这一个经验，我去帮助一个马来西亚有一个表演团体，一个表演形式叫做24节令，是马来西亚发源自马来西亚的一个表演。我高中的时候和一群朋友 表演啊、练习啊这些。所以毕业之后，他们就有成立一个表演的团体。所以那时候他们就来找我说能不能够设计一些周边商品，然后我们可以卖给鼓手。所以那一刻我就跟他们说，好的设计要来自于一个好的团体的一个使命宗旨。所以从那里我们才能够启发好的设计。所以那时候他觉得可能我的用词太浮夸，就认为可能我不了解生意，就跟我说你不明白，因为你要成立一家公司，你要照顾到员工每一个月的薪水那些，所以我知道我不能够再继续下去。所以当我第二次和他见面的时候，我就换另外一个方法跟他说，我说好的设计，每一个好的设计背后有一个好的故事，所以我们现在要去找我们的那些鼓手的朋友去收集他们的故事，所以每一个故事我们就做成一个主题，从那个主题才做成设计，所以那个时候他才能够认同这个想法，我们才能够继续下去。所以当中我就用同样的方式去带领他，从这一个只单单想到为盈利而做设计的这个角度，慢慢转向除了盈利，我们同时也可以为这些鼓手做一些东西。第一点就是因为我本身是鼓手，所以我明白，像我刚才说，我们需要被认同，所以在设计的过程中，我们设立了不同的方向，而最后这个 project 也进行得很顺利，然后他们也很开心。所以之后当我在跟他们谈设计的时候，他们也意识到，虽然他们还不明白我一开始说那个团体使命啊那些东西，但是他们了解到，下次我们要做设计的时候，这个设计不单只是能够卖，它必须也能够，这个产品必须也能够和购买的人有一个对话，有一个价值给那些人。所以最后我了解到一样东西，就是其实不管我们具备什么才能，我们是什么身份，我们不单只是可以用那个才能够赚钱养家糊口，其实也能够为社会就是直接的带来利益。谢谢。
谢谢。你应该他有一个 YouTube， 你可以问他答的时候。
我刚才那个照片是我结婚的时候。
他结婚的时候。说他的老婆说 ，Oh yes, I love you so much. Okay, now the next one I want to share is another project that we did. This is for Brunei. I'm sure you heard about Brunei. And I asked my partner Ravi to share how we use business strategy as from a bank perspective. How can they also change the savings culture?
Don't worry, this is something that I shouldn't say. Right, I'd like to share what Consulus gives in Brunei. Okay, small country, but relatively rich. Okay, through an earlier project and local partner, we knew of a local Brunei bank. It's called BIBD. Right? Was looking for an agency to rebrand the bank. The bank, as usual, first thought that Consulus is a typical agency and wanted us to participate in a free pitch. Okay? Free pitch means you draw something, and then if I like it, I buy. If I don't like it, goodbye. So we declined the invitation to pitch. We articulated and we tried to convince the client that Consulus' way of inside-out transformation, unifying, and change management methodology targeted at internal and external stakeholders were what they needed. Okay? Not simply change of logo and pray for the best. At that time, two major ad agencies had already submitted their proposal to the client. Okay? So 3 months gone by. Hear nothing from the bank. So we all thought that the project had gone and didn't even say goodbye. So later we received a call. We like your inside-out proposal, but we need to understand more. Come meet us in Brunei. So we councillors seized the opportunity, of course. Then Lawrence and I took the first plane out, armed with a proposal, strategic transformation, and building a culture of serving efficiently and effectively for business success. Okay? For us, whatever, we are still money face like that. Okay? However, the client decided to take us, offered us a small project. Their brief was very brief. Bruneians are spending much more than they earn. This is the social impact thing. Okay? Especially the young people. That's what the government said. Inculcate in them the culture of savings, with my bank, of course. We tried lucky draws, but very little impact. Okay? I have a budget to buy Mercedes-Benz as a first prize. Maybe that will help. But there's a small caveat there. The fee is small. In typical Singaporean style, the client said, I chose my job. You know? So we took the challenge. Proposed what we named as Wish Campaign. Okay? The campaign was open to the public and existing depositors. New depositors with the bank and existing ones who top up their savings can participate. Okay? All they had to do was to write an essay, write a story, and send to the bank why they think savings are important, and what will they do with the prize money should they win. Okay? That's why there's a social impact. Okay? Cash award, not in which country, cash award $100,000 for the best essay every 3 months. Grand prize, $1 million at the end of the 4th quarter. So that's the way we encourage saving up. People to aim for that thing, maybe. Yeah. There was also a social element to be included in the essay. On how they would help a charitable cause should the participant win the award. Okay, that's the catch. Now, we first thought nobody is going to write, but we have a lot of participants in the essay. Thousands and thousands of people wrote in to have a chance to get their letter read. We, as a councillor, we had our hands full being one of the judges. So, what to judge like crazy. What the Wish campaign meant for the bank? Okay, objective met. Okay, they captured more than 90% of saving deposits market share in Brunei. Okay, that's the business side of it. The impact to Bruneian, they created buzz in the community. Everybody talk about it. Bruneian are proud to be associated with a bank who cares so much about social impact as well. Okay? And of course, being a business person, happy ending for councillors too. We passed the test. The bank awarded us the larger project well before the Wish campaign ended. Therefore, it convinced us that doing good simply because doing good is good for business. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'd like to ask one of our senior consultants, Stephen, to share about something also about shaping people's identity. This time is in Kuching.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, just now my colleague Vince mentioned to you about the Cat City mountain. Alright, so now I will share to you this project that it is called the Place Talk project. It is actually a joint collaboration between us, councillors, and CPG. You came in by Changi Airport, Terminal 1, 2, 3, Bayview. Okay, and later you have time. Yes, 1, 2, 3, all done by them. Right? right? So if you also go to Gardens by the Bay, right, a beautiful garden in the city, that is also done by them, right? So we collaborated with them, and then we this project name is called Sarawak. It comes from two words. The first word is Sarawak, which is the state of East Malaysia that Vince was talking about, and the capital of that state in Malaysia, East Malaysia, is called Kuching. Right? So to continue on the story, I will now touch on three things. So the first one, I will talk about the identity, the people's identity. All right. So we conducted many interviews with all the people, the Kuching people, and through also Kuching for Me online contest. Right. So this created a lot of excitement in the community, in the capital, which is basically about 300,000 people. Right. Okay. And then I will now share with you the thoughts and of the winning entry. Her name is Miss Go. Right? All right. What Kuching for Me meant to her. The first important thing is that Kuching is more than a home, than a city. Right? Do you see Taipei or Kaohsiung as a home than a city? Right? For us, Singapore is home. We sing every National Day. Right? Okay, so Kuching, the Cat City, has created a unique and niche status in her heart, the heart of this winner, Miss Go, right? Because it is give her a very strong sense of familiarity, right? Everybody knows everybody, and it gives a good feel of homeliness, right? So we also through the contest we know that the people are very warm and welcoming, and that's how we were working very closely with the company that we renamed as Sarawak as well. Right? Okay. So if you go to a coffee shop, right, you're about to meet somebody, and sometimes you end up somebody pay for you free breakfast, free lunch, right? Okay. So this is very important. Why? Because there is actually a deep understanding of culture. There are many different races, Malay, Chinese, Iban, the local tribes, people, right? Speaking different languages, different religion. But they will all see themselves, they see themselves as being united. Right? So there's a very strong bond of racial harmony, and that's why Kuching is also known as a city of unity. Right? So the next part of what I will talk about is how through this project, we help to shape the culture of Kuching. Right? So, just give you a background, the Cat City has a long history that dates back from 19th century. Right? So it is more very laid back lifestyle, right? You go to enjoy life, under the shade, and things like that. Right? But it's also got special quaintness and unique atmosphere. It's not like the busy town like Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital of Malaysia, right, or even Singapore. So, right. So if you go to so this is actually the award ceremony for this contest that we conducted, right? And I was in a dinner, and sitting in the same table were people of all different races. This you don't see happening often. So this is a unique treasure that we have. So when you go to the city, there is the old part of the Kuching and also the Kuching waterfront, right? And then there is also the Fort Margherita. It gives you the British colonial time when they were at Brooks Dynasty, right? So it reminds her going through this excuse me. It brings back a lot of childhood memories of these places, right? And the famous Kolo Mee, right? That's a special, unique noodles that is done in Kuching, right? And that is something that unites them, right? Okay, and so you can still see, if you go to Kuching, you can see a lot of the building architecture that has both Chinese and British architecture styles. on the streets, you have centuries old trades, right? The blacksmith and the carpenters and tailors, right? And it becomes a very attractive tourist destination. Kuching is also a city of recreation and adventure, right? They have the Reservoir Park and the Friendship Park, and also the Forest Reserve, the Stutong Forest Reserve. Right? So you love nature, Kuching and Sarawak is the place to go. Right? You experience the wilderness as well as the tropical rainforest. And then 30 minutes away from Kuching city itself, they have got the Bako National Park, Fairy Cave, and even hot springs, right? So to relax. And they also have Sarawak Cultural Village, right, which shows the rich diversity of the heritage of people in Kuching and Sarawak. And what do we do? Right? We realize that this is an important treasure. And so what we did is we helped them to set up art gallery in the sales office. So it's not a typical sales office, right? You go to the developer office, you'll see buildings, models, and things like that. But we showcase art, right? So this able to showcase the local indigenous, the local people, as well as a modern interpretation, not all old stuff, a new look of old things, right? The creativity, what we call the Sarawak-Kiana culture, right? So we help them to build on this, right? And then we come to our favorite topic. All of us love food, right? So what do? Right? We realize that Kuching is a food paradise, right? Yeah. So they've got a lot of local food, right? So the famous polomi, as I mentioned, laksa, kway chap, which is pig intestine, very delicious. So you all must make another trip to go to Kuching, right? Okay, and we will also strongly encourage to buy a home away from home in Kuching, in Paradise township that we are helping the developers to do. Right? So they also have got the local dish, and then there's a very special what we call it vegetable called midin, right? Okay, and so what we did is we bring in all the rich ecological culture and food paradise, and this what you are seeing is Paradise Edge. It is the street mall in a garden, right? Okay, so this is targeted to launch in June next year, right? So what it is an integrated food street where we bring all the best of Kuching and of the world in one place, right? So as you say, it will be a new playground for Kuchingites, where they can sense the heartbeat of Kuching in a green oasis, right? The concept that you see is very open. You have see-through glass cabins. We actually use containers to give a very different identity, right? And unique F&B for dining experience. With that, I thank you.
So we have come to the sharing part of it. We still have 10 minutes before the reception. If you'd like to ask any question or you have any comments, we are most happy to answer. Otherwise, we can have the reception and you can ask us privately. It's okay, or you can ask now. Yes, Professor. 那些客户啊，对，是他实际上是人家介绍的。你像那些 CEO 啊，他们经过的这个，因为我们的 program 蛮长的，一年到1年半，不减，有一些是3年。好像刚才那个银行 Ravi 说的，一个是4年半的一个大计划，所以他们经历 相信这个就是我们的理念呢，我们一定要执着，一定要实行。所以我们没有，我们可以说我们比较幸福了，比较 lucky， 不需要放弃。因为很多公司他们走这个方向很难，因为有钱为什么你不要赚那笔钱？因为如果说要赚容易的钱呢，我们单单做这样广告设计这个钱比较快。但是你做这个的时候，你需要很长远的投资，我们的整个模式也是要改变，而且我们的模式也是要走长远的，不可以这样一做就好。所以这某种的一些因素，所以大致上我们的顾客全部都是因为很多人他们经历过这个，他们很高兴，他们就说你应该也加入这个。当然现在我们已经有一个知名度了，我们在市场上人家是看到我们是说在亚洲呢可以说是很少亚洲公司做这种东西，很多美国还有英国的公司有做这种东西，但是你找一个亚洲公司有商业策略、有能力转型，还有设计，很难找。我们是3合1的，像 Nestle 刚才你喝的那咖啡，我们有 coffee， 我们有 cream， 还有 sugar， 所以 sugar 是我们的 design， 对吗？所以很少公司有这样的，大致上都是分的。你做一个策略，你做呢，你就做那个能力，你做那个能力呢，你就去设计。所以这个也是很难的，坦白说，当我们开始说，有时候我们是问自己的，做的这样辛苦做什么？变得钱比较容易赚，为什么不要去冲啊？但是现在当然有一个像是很高兴的，我们有一个一直 insist。
因为我们的团队很多可能大家还在创业当中，
对，
或者在发展当中，我们有很多是 NPO 或者是 social enterprise。那我们cannot afford to hire you to design for all our organizations。那你可以建议说，大家的第一步可能可以再怎么样，把自己的使命更，或者是做一些调整，或者做一些设计，或怎么样，给一些。
你看我们的顾客群我们现在大致上的顾客群有3种大致上是那些大公司，当然，所以我们还是有接小公司的。如果你的使命是很像你要改变社会或者什么东西，我们会给你一个比较低的。像我们现在最近 Jeffrey 我还有Vincent 还有 Ken， 我们帮一个音乐的学校，他们是不是赚很多钱的，因为那些老师呢，他们是不是赚钱的理念，你知道吗？他们是真的是很 passionate musician， 你知道吗？所以我们的资费给他们是不可能。当然，大公司我们会给这种费用的。如果为什么你给他这么便宜我们的做也不一样嘛，对吗？所以我们这个是我们的social impact。我们拿那些我们赚的钱从大公司呢，给我们那个leeway可以帮小公司，所以我们也是有的。但是我们的 insistence 是说，如果你要做，你要敢做大一点，因为很多公司呢，你有一个 passion， 但是你不大不小，很惨的。你只能做一个决定，你做小就做很小，要做大就要做大，你不可以做中，你做中你一定会关门的。所以这个是我们，所以为什么要做大很重要？你不做大，你不可以跟人家讲你是一个好的 example， 人家就说你的 social 讲得很好听，但是没有什么影响，只是这么少人。所以那个 skill 是一个我们要，可像这个 music school 的话，你要做呢。对，虽然我们是投资了，给你一个金，但是你一定要自己决定。所以第一步其实是说你自己，你不要请顾问先，你要问你自己，你做这个的impact是什么？因为有一些人我是觉得了，他喜欢做自己喜欢的东西，但是并不表示你喜欢做的东西对社会有什么影响。所以变成有一点矛盾啊。因为如果你要做一个 social 的，你真的是全面性，你要做 social 的，好像你财经、你能源，你一定要配合的，你不可以说我的产品是 social， 但是我的 HR 不是 social， 我的 finance 不是 social。好像我们的公司，虽然我们可以是说是老板但是我要用什么经过，我也是要问 Jeffrey。我们会讨论的，因为我们的 culture 是 see unity。所以我也是要问 Robbie， 我也是要问，但是 Jeffrey 其实可以跟我们3个人讲嘛，你们不懂财经，这么多年了，为什么要问你们？他是30、40多年的经验嘛，但是他也是 到底要做什么 ？Why are you doing the business？ 当你知道那个 why， 当你下雨的时候、打雷的时候，你还会继续。那个最重要，太阳在那边晒的时候，你继续是没有用的。好，打雷的时候啊，你真的是湿都不要再湿了啊！哇，一直 after one crisis after the other， 人家在捶你啊，你还是继续走啊。那你的 why 就会 support 你，所以那个 why 很重要。你不是说人家可以帮你会改变什么的，你自己要有一个决定。然你找人进来的时候呢，你才会走得快。我们有另一个公司是这样，他是卖小提琴的。他刚开始的时候呢，我和 Jeffrey 去见他，因为他是修理小提琴，他这里有个但是他对他的所做的东西很有一个 passion， 所以我就跟他讲，那你要做就做好一点呐，不然做一半。他现在做的很成功，不需要我们了。他自己的员工，他也可以自己做自己的顾问。是这样的，这样你自己的决定。那我们在帮你的时候我们是很像一个火箭嘛，我们呢只能做一个 booster。你那个头要是你做头嘛，你可能我们进来我们做头，没有道理的。所以希望这个很 clear， 是你自己的 personal decision。我们也是 make a personal decision。所以 Robbie 仔讲，等3个月，那银行，哇，很多人等3个月，哇，很累啊，想给薪水啊。所以不用怕，我们在小公司，我们有一个小的 package 我们会。
Catherine, I'm actually a dietitian.
Yes.
What my company provides is similar to yours,
Yes.
but more focused on corporate wellness.
Yes,
So
yes.
I wonder if you have ever encountered, because you do like
Yes.
consultancies for
Yes, yes.
employees and organizational
Yeah.
design.
Yes.
Do you ever encounter any like corporate wellness?
They have. I mean, we don't know anyone, but our clients, they have this kind of, they have consultants,
They have those needs.
yes. I think increasingly in Singapore, in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, where it's more advanced, the work-life balance, wellness become very important, health food become very important. So, in fact, a number of the businesses that we are helping is going towards this consciousness of wellness, we call it. So, and we're doing a lot of work strategy. But we are not the ones advising on the wellness part because the clients have their own consultants. But I think you are at the right time.
I'm also a lot of foundations for the nutritionists
Yes.
and dietitians internationally.
Yes.
So I know there's no like special schools in Singapore for training the dietitians. So the governments and all the dietitians outside to everywhere and to learn, and they come back and the dietitian working mostly in schools or hospitals.
Yes.
But especially now we see more needs in corporate settings, so that's one of the things I see.
It is, and you know an interesting trend is the phone is playing a big part about tracking diet.
Exactly.
So Apple and Google, they are going into that space.
Yeah.
And like a lot of things we see now is that we have to be, all of us in the social enterprise space, we have to be very successful fast, but we also must be very smart using technology to grow the business faster and faster. Because the future is, the phone is taking up a huge amount of space and the watch is also doing a lot of space. So wellness, how you manage your time, meeting is going too long, your phone will tell you stop talking. So all these things are happening, we are seeing that, and the recording is becoming more and more, the ability to recognize voices, interpret to understand the context and how you say certain things is becoming more profound. So there's this marriage of the purpose, there's this marriage of technology, there's also this marriage of context, how this comes together. And I think that's why I say the fourth industrial revolution, we must contribute to the conversation of purpose. There's a lot of people contributing on the conversation of technology, platform, but what's the context? For a poor family in Myanmar, maybe it's not so much the technology first. We need to understand how they can find good paying jobs, meaningful jobs that can help them make a difference, right? How can we encourage more entrepreneurship in Myanmar, right? Rather than all the businesses, the big businesses of the past, they are dominating the Myanmar economy. So there are a lot of societies going through a variety of challenges. But wellness is definitely a big growing spot. 哦，谢谢万，好好。